agree. There must, you know, there might be a reason. You might ask Tom Horn tomorrow, since he's superintendent of public instruction.
I'll be walking the precinct trying to get people to vote for you.
Thank you. We'll go take notes and we'll find that out.
Somebody want to take that down?
Your lady over there.
Yeah,
Judy?
absolutely.
First of all, thank you so much for all the effort you have put out for us. I really appreciate it. One of the things that's been uppermost in my mind since I saw Ken Bennett's presentation on the budget a couple years ago was, what can we do to prevent the runaway spending that has brought us to where we're at now going forward?
Well, you're absolutely, that's something we should all be concerned about. We need budget reform. We need to have restraints. We need to be able to say we're going to have a rainy day fund and have it spelled out specifically why and how that money can be used. We can't do everything for everybody. It's impossible. We have to have restraints on the budget. And until we elect and get people that buy into that philosophy, it's going to be very, very difficult. Because it has been cyclical. When I first went into the legislature, we were faced with a similar problem. And then, 10 years later, it was the same problem all over again. People like to spend. We can't keep spending. It's not our job. And we just have to get, we have to get a hold on it. But if we can get implementation, and then we need to find a better way to be able to project revenues.
Exactly.
That is a key, because I believe we probably need 3 different sources and do a blend of those projections, because we all know if you're only going to one place, that can be jiggy-rigged. We know. I mean, we can look at JLBC, which is the Joint Legislative Budget Committee, and, somebody from leadership goes over there and says, well, we can't get this done. We need to have it upped a little bit, so just kind of move the projection. I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. It's all based on projection, but we need to be able to say from 3 different sources, this is what the projections are. And we know it's always fluid. It's no different than your budget. If you make a budget and the refrigeration goes out, or the baby gets sick, or the car breaks down and you didn't plan for it, well, then you have to adjust someplace else. But we have to have budget reform. We have to. We absolutely have to. And we can do it. If we do what is needed to be done, we can do it in the next 4 years.
Good.
Won't be easy.
Good.
And, everybody's got their sacred cow. You've got 90 people in the legislature, and everybody's got a sacred cow. But you know what? Doing the right thing generally means what? Doing the hard thing. And we need to do some hard things in Arizona.
Absolutely.
Question back here?
Yeah, as you move on in November as governor, in the long run, I know it's a long-term thing, but is there any way we can hold universities more accountable for getting them back to teaching the things they're supposed to teach? And so overrun with liberalism in universities.
Well,
phenomenal. My daughter put up with it for 4 years. She wrote about it. She was on radio programs about it. It's so tough for these kids. And I don't know if there's anything we can do just to make them get back to teaching what they're supposed to teach.
Well,
I have any ideas on that.
I have been working really hard with the universities and with the Board of Regents and with the university presidents, because we have to have a partnership with them, because we know, again, going back to the jobs, that people like certain things with the universities. That's why they come here, because of the research and et cetera, et cetera. But our main goal is getting these students educated and holding them accountable. And these kids need predictability as far as when they start into their classes, that they should know what their tuition is going to be in order to get that certain degree. They shouldn't have to know that each year is going to increase, increase, increase. And so when my first visit to the Board of Regents was that message, very loud and very strong. And I believe that the university, everybody doesn't have to go to a research university. Everybody doesn't care whether you have a great, big, fabulous football team. I mean, it's not that important. I would believe like NAU has did with Yavapai Community College after my directions to them, to allow them to co-opt, to go together and to work, so that they can take their classes at Yavapai County and end up with their 4-year degree. That's a way of really cutting costs and getting the job done and making it more affordable and more predictable. And we will continue to do that. But we know that there's been announcements that tuition is probably going to rise again, according to the regents. And and the classes are too big. And Yeah, you know, and I don't know how you fix that, but the bottom line is that we gotta get good people appointed to the Board of Regents, so we have some really, really great oversight on it, and make them accountable. And the legislature has to make them accountable also. They are the appropriators. They are the appropriators. And we have begun that journey with the universities, and we will continue. You know, I've been there 2 years. We've made some pretty big changes as far as their operations. We can't do it overnight. You just can't turn that big train around that quickly. You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm a truth teller, but I think that we have a good start and that we will make them much more accountable, much more predictable, and much more affordable for everybody. It's out of control. It is out of control.
I have a question. These two young ladies.
Uh-oh, these are the tough ones. Stay here, clerk. Well, hey, you're doing the calling.
Governor Brewer, first of all, thank you for your passion and love to save this country. I am thankful. Mine's simple. As a young conservative going to college, what is a specific piece of advice that you would give us to almost help reach out to other students and open their eyes to see what's happening? Because I feel like with their eyes closed and blind, they're not going to see what's going to happen in this country within the next year or even 5 years.
You know, you have to stand your ground, and you can't give them an inch because they'll take a mile. It's interesting. Even when my youngest son was at the university, he would say, you know, it's really hard in the academic environment because you have to take certain classes, and you've got really liberal, sometimes professors that are just, you're thinking, what are they talking about? And you know you have to deliver on the dime, so you almost have to accommodate them if you want a grade. And all the time he would say things like, you know, it just makes me sick. And, you know, but he had to keep his grade point up to 4.3 so he wasn't going to get, you know, rid of that. And so, but I will tell you, he held, and it's hard to be a conservative, and sometimes I think it's even harder being a conservative male in the university system. But you hold your line and you just keep talking about your philosophy and the basic things and what's bad about socialism and the liberal left. And today, people that he went to college with, girls and boys, that he and it happened to him in law school too. It was even worse in law school. But they came and they said, you know, Michael, you were right, because as they get older, they get smarter. You know, I'll tell you a little story. I was down in Yuma at a restaurant. It's called Cretan's, a Mexican restaurant down there, and they gave me a menu, and I looked at it, and it said that they had a Republican special. I thought, this is really cool. You know, it was a chimichanga and rice and beans, you know, for $5.99. I thought, that's great. And right below it, they had the Democrat special, and it was the same thing. It said exactly the same thing, except you pay for it, we'll give it to someone else. I mean, I laughed, and I, of course, ordered the Republican one, and I paid it, you know? But I thought, boy, that tells a story. That really tells a story. You just have to keep saying it over and over, and don't give up, because if you give up, we will not have an America. We will not have America. And there are so many great role models out there today, because the conservatives are fired up.
We're awake.
We're awake.
I was going to ask, when you're done fixing Arizona, will you come to California?
Can you believe what he did to me? On the Board of Governors thing? Conference?
I come from Southern California,
Yeah.
and I see it all the time. So.
No, they boycotted Arizona. I was supposed to host the Board of Governors meeting, and I said I would host it. We were ready to go. Mexico governors boycotted. Rick Perry in New Mexico says, well, I'll host it. I'll host it. Oh, what did I say?
Rick Perry.
Oh, not Rick Perry. He's a good guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Rick. Richardson.
Yeah.
And so then he calls up Arnold. And this is after I talked to Arnold on the telephone. And he says, oh, I'll come. I'll come to New Mexico. Hanging out. joining in with the boycott.